Another example of a real-life light source is the sun. So in this case, I have this little shed, and in it, just very basic, like nothing's been decorated out. What I wanted to show you is examples of setup, okay? Your job would be to pretty them up as far as materials and textures are concerned. So in order for this scenario to work, I would need a light that would cast a light into a window. And to do that, we look at the content browser. There's actor classes, there's lights, but under there we have directional lights, and there's a dominant directional light. The dominant directional light is just that. It's very, very bright. It takes over the entire scene. But what's really nice about it is I can aim it. So in this case, just gonna go like that. And you can see on the floor in here now, I have a light. Okay, well, now that it's on the floor, that room's gonna fill with light. But is it? How much light? Well, let's do a little render. Okay, and you can see that room barely filled with any light whatsoever. In fact, the only thing that it has is that on the floor. Because this is not a fill light. A fill light in this situation is a point light. So we can add this point light. And its job is just to fill the room. Remember that the radius is really big. So you want to tone down the radius. And after we tone down the radius, then we can work on fall off if we wanted to. So fill lights have an incredible fast drop off. So I'm going to put this at maybe 4. And for the light color, I could use kind of a butter yellow here. All right, now we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, so there we go. We got a fill light in the room. It fills the room with light. It relies heavily on the window and the light coming in from that. And once we put the actual textures on the wall, that's a nice little rig. Now, it's those scenarios that you have to kind of practice setting up in very controlled environments, just to practice around. And then once you get that down, then you can start moving on to bigger, better things like making a level with lighting and everything else. But for right now, you should probably concentrate on smaller examples until you get your feet wet with it. And then after that, yeah, go on to make Paris or whatever you want your little heart content. So let's see what we got here. Just looking for a material. I'll use the atypical floor material. And in most cases, you're not going to see a whole difference until you actually get the material on the wall. There we go. And lastly, ceiling, which is floor. So I could just type in floor. Okay, now we'll look at that. And I'll play an editor. Now you can see, as soon as I put the texture down, the power of the sun kind of went away. It's there. I can see the definite little highlight there, but it's not as crisp as it was. Okay, there's one thing that you should look at. If it's going to be the power of the power of the sun should have a great power. So here, you can actually get along with putting the brightness up quite a bit for this light. You want it to dominate the other lights. You want it to have like a small color as it is. And for the shadow, you want normal. For the filter quality, I like putting that on high. Okay, that's done building. And now you can see that spot on the floor is much better, much more highlighted. You can tell it's coming from the window. But what's really missing here is the volumetrics. So let's look at how volumetrics play into the situation in the next video.